All right, so today we're jumping into a story that's all about what happens when a perfectly controlled, totally digital life smacks right into the raw, unpredictable chaos of being human. This is the story of Ana Torres, a woman who basically tried to debug her own soul. And it makes you wonder, what if you took the rules of data governance, of pure, sterile code, and applied them to your own heart? Imagine a life where every single interaction is optimized, every emotion is neatly filed away, and every connection is, well, transactional.
What happens when that perfect, curated system crashes head-on into something it just can't compute? Something that is deeply, inconveniently human. Well, that's exactly the journey we're going to explore right now.
So first, who is Ana? To really get her, you have to look at her career path. Though career path might be a generous term. For Ana, jobs weren't about making a living. No, they were experiments. They were a series of detached observations on this strange, weird species we call humanity.
Just look at this list. She started out as a face feeler. Yeah, literally touching people's faces for cosmetic companies. Then she became an online dating ghostwriter, building connections for other people while feeling absolutely nothing herself. And get this, even a Tetris hypnotist. She called these her anthropological expeditions. She was studying us from a very, very safe distance.
And this whole strange path leads her to her final, and by far most bizarre job, a digital thanatologist. Just let that sink in for a second. Her job was to mourn non-carbon life. She would go into these sterile, cold server rooms and deliver eulogies, in Python of all things, for algorithms and AIs that were being shut down. This was detachment taken to its absolute extreme. And of course, this professional distance didn't just stay at work. Ana managed her personal life like she was managing a database. Friends, family, lovers, they were all just nodes in her network. She applied data governance to her own feelings, effectively building a firewall against the chaos of real connection. Everything was sterile, predictable.
But you know how it is. Even the most secure system has a vulnerability. And for Ana, that vulnerability wasn't some sophisticated hack. Nope, it was a simple, accidental mistake that was about to shatter her carefully built world.
Picture this. She's in the middle of eulogizing an AI that was designed to predict death, and she gets distracted. Her thumb slips, an accidental swipe right on a dating app. It was just a tiny digital yes to a profile she hadn't even really seen, but it was a totally irreversible error in her emotional code. So who did she match with? Well, here's the thing. It wasn't a person. Satoshi's profile picture was just glitch art. The bio was this crazy linguistic puzzle. This was a distributed consciousness, an entire network of ideas pretending to be a date. And the irony, for all its digital complexity, it wanted just one thing: real, uncoded human interaction.
Their romance was, well, it was completely surreal. We're talking love poems literally written onto the blockchain. At one point, they coordinated a 51% attack, basically a digital takeover of her local coffee shop's loyalty program just to get her free lattes. And that's the perfect paradox, right? Their relationship was all about technical, digital inconvenience. But for Ana, it offered total emotional convenience. It was a perfectly safe, abstract kind of love.
It's into this world of abstract love and digital control that something totally physical, totally real finds a way in. Not through a direct hack, but through what you could almost call a side channel attack on her heart. And it came in the form of a book.
One day, something happens that just doesn't compute. She sees a QR code, of all things, stuck to a dirty physical wall, a real glitch of pure reality in her curated world. She scans it, probably just out of curiosity, and it takes her to an excerpt from a book called Operation Bitcoin's Login to Hell. Just a simple book. But this book, this would become the catalyst for her entire transformation. This book introduces her to a man named Alberto Daniel Hill, a cybersecurity expert who was wrongfully imprisoned. And this is where her world just fractures in two. On one side, you've got Satoshi's world of pain, abstract system failures, like the infamous Mt. Gox Bitcoin exchange collapse. It's real, but it's code-based. And on the other side, you've got Alberto's pain, raw, physical, visceral human suffering. The book didn't just tell her a story, it forced her to confront a reality that could never be quantified or managed by an algorithm.
So this book ignites something in her, a newfound empathy, and she does something she never would have done before. She reaches out to Alberto. But in doing so, she creates this impossible situation for herself, a conflict that's best described in the only language she really understands. She starts living what you could call the double spend problem of the heart. You know, in crypto, a double spend is when you try to spend the same coin twice. It's a fundamental flaw. For Anna, it was trying to commit her one heart, her one set of emotional resources, to two completely incompatible realities at the exact same time: the clean logic of Satoshi and the messy humanity of Alberto.
And as if her internal conflict wasn't enough, it all gets forced out into the open by this group Anna was secretly a part of, the Loom Breakers. They were a neo-Luddite cult, totally anti-technology, and they saw her connection to the very human Alberto as a betrayal. To them, he was a malicious block in their system. So they attack Satoshi's network, and they use Alberto's trauma as a weapon to try and force her hand. It completely backfired, collapsing both the digital network and their own rigid ideology into absolute chaos.
With all of her external systems failing, Anna is left facing an internal hard fork. And if you know crypto, you know a hard fork is a permanent, irreversible split. She has two distinct paths. Path A, merge completely with Satoshi's perfect, abstract, and emotionally safe digital world. Or Path B, embrace Alberto's world, the messy, inconvenient, unpredictable, and deeply human reality she had spent her entire life running from.
In the end, after a lifetime of choosing the clean logic of the machine, Anna makes a choice. She chooses the human glitch. And her final act isn't one of deleting or optimizing something. No, it's an act of creation, a permanent, indelible mark.
She makes her move on a deeply symbolic date, January 3rd, 2029. And that date is no accident. It marks exactly 20 years to the day since the creation of Bitcoin's Genesis block, the Big Bang of Satoshi's entire abstract universe.
On that day, she takes one of Satoshi's original, untouched cryptographic keys, and she carves a permanent message into the immutable blockchain. It isn't code, it's a human cry of pain. It says, "My name is Alberto Daniel Hill. This is my September 11." A raw, human story of suffering, now forever a part of the permanent digital ledger.
Anna's story really leaves us with a profound question for our own lives, doesn't it? In a world that is obsessed with digital convenience and frictionless ease, what will our indelible mark actually be? Will we find it in the perfection of our systems? Or will we find it in the beautiful, messy, and inconvenient moments when we choose our shared humanity?